So as we know already, or as many of you guys know already, there's different types of hair loss. And so when we talk about looking at how we address hair loss, it really depends on the type of hair loss that you have. There are non-scarring types of hair loss, which is our female pattern hair loss, our male pattern hair loss, our stress-related hair loss, our postpartum related hair loss. And so those are types of hair loss where our hair follicle itself is not damaged. It decides to go to sleep. It turns on that on switch to an off switch. And so the hair follicle itself goes to sleep, but it has the ability to be able to start growing again because the follicle is still there, it's still active. Then we have scarring types of hair loss, and scarring types of hair loss are ones in which the hair follicle itself is under attack. There's a lot of inflammation that's eating away at the follicle, and ultimately the follicle can die and then it no longer can produce hair anymore. So our scarring types of hair loss are CCCA, discoid lupus, some forms of traction alopecia, which comes from kind of pulling tight hairstyles, pulling on the frontal hairline. So those tight ponytails, weaves, braids, over time, all that pulling leads to inflammation, which will cause scarring as well. So really determining the type of hair loss that we have really kind of guides our approach to the things that we're going to be able to do to overcome that hair loss. There's genetic sides to both. So we know that CCCA, which is a scarring type of hair loss, is one that has a genetic component, and it's very common in the African-American community. Also, and the African community, as well as non-scarring hair loss, so our female pattern, male patterned hair loss that we see kind of passed down from generation to generation, there's genetic components to that too. Outside of those, there are other causes, more environmental causes of hair loss, and those are the things that we can really modify. And let's say you even have a genetic component to hair loss. I'm going to tell you a couple of different things that we can kind of do to limit our risk or limit our severity of hair loss, even if we do have a genetic predisposition to losing our hair. So what is this holistic approach to hair growth? It's looking at everything. So it's looking at the entire person when we're looking at hair loss and hair growth. And so if we have underlying diseases, we want to treat those. We want to maximize our nutritional supplements. We want to make sure that we're reducing our stress. We'd be so surprised how much stress plays into hair loss. And especially with this pandemic in the last 2 years, we've seen so much stress-related hair loss. It's astounding. Sleep and the role of sleep and what that has to do with hair growth and hair loss as well. Hair care practices, what are the best ways that we can style to minimize hair loss, medications that are associated with hair loss, as well as diet. So we want to, and literally each of these topics could probably be a 30 to 60 minute talk on their own. So I'm going to give you just some high yield points with each of them. But at the same time, you know, we got to look at all these different things because they're all things that we can modify outside of just the genetic hand that we're given to be able to limit our hair loss and actually encourage our hair to grow. So let's start with the treating underlying disease. So iron deficiency anemia is one of the most common deficiencies that we see. And that's when we have low levels of iron. So premenopausal women are going to be the most likely to have iron deficiency anemia because we lose blood every month. So our blood levels can be a little bit lower, our iron levels can be a little bit lower. So supplementing iron can definitely be helpful with helping to grow our hair. And we'd be surprised how many people really do have low levels of iron deficiency anemia and how much that really affects that hair loss. And
thank you for watching that video, and I hope you learned something new today. To watch the full video, I would like you to join us at the Good Hair Tribe, where you have access to this video and many more amazing contents to help you in your hair care literacy. See you at the Good Hair Tribe.